Everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Awesome Sunday Show. Pat here.
And Connor as usual.
And today we're going to be talking about a show that I doubt many of you have seen or even heard of. But it's a great show, and anytime you come over to Connor's house, if you've never seen the show, and if you expect to in the future, just expect to watch this show.
Yeah.
It always garners the same reaction, which is, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, exactly. This show is probably the most messed up show on television, but it is still comedic gold, which is funny because it's not all shock value, which a lot of it is.
Yeah, a lot of it is definitely shock value or gross out humor, but it still is very funny. You're right.
So the show that we're going to be talking about today, which just actually finished the second season, it was renewed for a third season, is Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles is by far one of the funniest shows on Adult Swim I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Rick and Morty level, but it's probably my second favorite current show on Adult Swim.
Currently, yeah, I would definitely say it's the second funniest. I mean, Rick and Morty's just, in a different league, but other than Rick and Morty, this is currently the best and funniest show on Adult Swim.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And
then Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Mike Tyson Mysteries is a really close third, though.
Yeah.
That show's second season was so much better than its first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Pickles. I actually saw the show on accident during, in the beginning of the first season. And then I missed, the pilot and everything like that. I think I saw it, around season, or episode 3 or 4 of the first season. I watched that, and then, then I, on demand, watched the first, 3 or 4 or whatever.
Right.
And then, I mean, Pat, how many times did I show people this show?
Oh my God, I can't even count. Every single one of our friends who has been over your house, you have shown.
Yeah.
Even people who have never seen probably an Adult Swim show, you've showed it to.
Oh.
And you've hooked a few of us, myself included.
Yeah.
Some not so much.
Some people hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not and they hate it because of just how insane it is, I think. I got a few people at work on it too. So I think, who did I get? Snyder really likes it too, but he doesn't watch it.
He said he's afraid to watch it by himself.
Yeah, I think out of our friend group, it's me, you, and Dentino that actually watch the show.
Yeah,
and he admits it now. It's just pretty funny. He tells people, he's I watch it by myself.
I do too. Not surprisingly, but it's a great show. My favorite reaction out of anybody who have you shown the show to was Cam's.
Oh, Cameron Lockwood's face was hysterical.
His jaw was he was slack-jawed the entire time. He had he had no idea what was going on. His jaw was on the floor the entire time. As soon as it was done, he looked at us wide-eyed, jaw still agape, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite reaction to it so far.
Also, when Poeta watched the show, they had a really good reaction too.
Yeah,
they were Kevin's face was what the fuck? Well, all right, this is what gets people every time. A lot of people, because violence on television isn't anything new, so it's really over the top in Mr. Pickles. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of the show before I explain what people always drop their jaw at the most, and it's actually the least gory thing. So Mr. Pickles is about a dog named Mr. Pickles, and he is a vessel of Satan or a vessel of some demonic
demon
force.
Or something.
Yeah, he's a demon. So and in his doghouse he has a secret demonic lair of it's a river of blood, and it's
bones, pentagrams, mutilated bodies.
Right. He has servants that are lobotomized to a certain extent, and then also servants that are multiple people sewn together.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. There's he has in the first season he has this giant man baby with a bunch of people attached. And then there's and then in the second season, after the beginning, he gets the guy that thinks he's a frog, and he starts making him a giant frog.
Yeah.
And then he actually has the doctor that constantly laughs after everything he says in the lair. That it's he'll just say something normal,
Oh, it's the doctor from the
first
mental hospital.
Yeah, it was the first episode of the second season.
Yeah,
that guy was great.
Yes.
But the thing is though, Mr. Pickles only kills bad people, people who are either like wronging themselves or other people, or just like nasty people in general.
Yeah.
And the Goodman family and also the rest of Old Town have no idea that Mr. Pickles is like a demonic force. They think he's just a good dog.
The only one who is right, but nobody ever believes him, and he was even locked in an insane asylum for this, is Grandpa.
Yeah. And you actually find out his name in the season finale.
Yeah.
Gobblestopper.
Yeah, his last name is Gobblestopper or something like that.
Yeah, Henry Gobblestopper is his name. So like it took 21 episodes in order for us to finally find out the grandpa's name. And I mean that's not really a spoiler. It doesn't mean anything. Like
no, it's not important at all. But the reason people don't believe Grandpa is one, the things he's saying are outrageous and about a dog.
Yeah, I mean,
and he just comes off as crazy himself.
Yeah, he does come off as crazy because he'll start telling stories about Mr. Pickles, and he'll be like Grandpa, like, why won't you do this? He goes, like, well, last time Mr. Pickles put a human face there, and like, it's like I opened my wallet and there was a human face. Like, I went to open up the fridge and there was a human face. So like, Mr. Pickles constantly messes with Grandpa because Grandpa knows Mr. Pickles is evil.
Right.
So Mr. Pickles, even though he doesn't kill Grandpa, because Grandpa isn't necessarily a bad person. He's actually a good person, but Mr. Pickles still messes with him, like
tortures him almost.
Yeah, and Mr. Pickles' gimp is a really funny character too. Steve.
Steve, in a full gimp mask and suit, only barks. Does not speak English.
Yep,
just barks.
Constantly barks, and he actually has like a higher pitched bark than Mr. Pickles. Hence, like, and kind of saying like he's like Mr. Pickles is the dominant one, like
fitting for a gimp.
Yeah, and it's. Like but the characters are great. You talk about your favorite character for a little bit.
Oh my god, my favorite character is easily Sheriff.
Oh yeah,
he's the best. I mean, his design alone is funny. He constantly is wearing roller skates.
Yeah,
he's got like this weird like M bump built into his hat, but it's a part of his hair.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a top lip.
Yeah, hence why he always talks like he has like a weird upper lisp.
Grandpa.
Yeah, like just. Am I in trouble, Mr. Pickles?
Yeah.
Like,
and then like he's pretty much just a boy with a mustache.
Yeah, but he's got this like insane camel toe.
Oh, his camel toe is as big as Chris Christie's.
Yeah, it's huge, and like whenever he like the episode with the midget where he's on Tommy's shoulders, you can actually see like the fupa camel toe go over Tommy's like forehead. And like there's a lot of subtle things though too. Like if you look in the background of the show, like there's always like I don't know, like the signs in the stores always have like just crazy funny names. And
the signs in there are ridiculous. One was like what, gluten-free water or something.
Yeah, they're just stupid.
Yeah, they're stupid and they're funny. But Sheriff, oh my god, he's so great. He lives at home with his mom. He who is pretty much just the female version of him. He plays with little Barbie dolls. He gets grounded.
He has a doll named Abigail.
Yeah, he has a doll named Abigail who's everything to him. He constantly is grounded. It was even made in the season finale, made the paper that he was grounded.
Yep.
And it's prevented him from doing actual police work. He's a complete idiot.
Yeah.
But he's so funny.
Yeah, he's great. And he makes the show, he makes a lot of episodes. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Some episodes that are kind of like, not that they're not funny, but they're kind of whatever. Like he always gathers a big laugh.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite character, but I got to give a shout out to Mr. Bojenkins.
Oh, Mr. Bojenkins is great too.
Yeah, he's great. I hope they emphasize him more. It still is, but I think it might change soon. My favorite character might be the sheriff now, but for a while it was Floyd, the overly obese guy. But in season 2, he kind of sucks. He's like not even in it.
Yeah, he's not even in it. Pretty much. I think he's had like maybe 2 scenes or something.
Yeah, but he feeds Mr. Goodman's lunch to his own lunch.
Yeah, that was his thing. But
yeah,
Floyd is massively obese, constantly eating.
Doesn't stop.
That's his whole thing. He's constantly eating.
He like drinks mayonnaise.
He drinks mayonnaise for lunch, like gallons of mayonnaise, not just like a little, packet of mayonnaise, gallons of mayonnaise. Everything he eats is ridiculous. He's never not eating. He's covered in grease and pimples and stuff. Yeah. And like the one episode they showed him at his house, and everything there was food related. Every single drawer in the house was dedicated to a different food.
Yep.
For his barbecue, it was a whale inside of turkey, or a duck inside a turkey, inside a cow, inside like 5 huge animals,
inside an elephant, inside, and then it was a bunch. It was every animal was bigger than the other. Finally, inside a whale.
Yeah,
and that was like the barbecue.
Yeah, it was. The guy is ridiculous. Yet.
Oh, that was the episode with the woman who didn't have genitals.
Oh yeah,
and she'd crap out her boobs. Yeah, this show is so messed up.
Yeah, see, that's like kind of how the show works. There's ridiculous things, ridiculous people. Let's talk about the Goodman family first.
Yeah. Before we get to that, just to make a point before, the reactions, the number one reaction I get from people, it's not from like the messed up crap that's in the show, as far as like that's really grossed out or like really like out there, like the 2 kids that constantly hump each other when they like it's when Mr. Pickles has the ability to command animals, and the way he does it is it's him speaking English, but he's talking backwards in a really deep voice.
Yeah, it just sounds like demonic ancient Latin.
Yeah,
type of thing.
And
his eyes go black.
And every time like someone sees that for the first time, they are like, they get scared almost. Yeah. Kevin from Poeta, his reaction when that first happened, he almost fell out of the chair. Like I'm gonna see if I can find a clip so that you can hear it. But yes, let's get into the Goodman family and
all right. So the main cast of the Goodman family, Floyd and Sheriff, it's Caitlin Robrock as Tommy Goodman, who is the son, and he's probably like 8 or something like that, and dumb as can be.
Yeah,
like
very naive.
Very naive, more than a normal kid would be. And he also has leg braces, which factor
amazing.
into a lot of a lot of the jokes placed against him. But without being mean, it's not
maybe.
There are some people, like there's a episode where he gets bullied for it, but the jokes outside of that that go on that are not like cruel. It just adds to like the situation.
Yeah, like there's a scene where in I think it was episode 4. No, episode 4 was the Cheeseman episode. It was episode 3 or 5 with Dino or Vito Pizzarelli. When it was the Bigfoot, and like he drops the pie.
That was episode 2.
That was episode 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where he drops the pie pan, and he constantly tries to pick it up, but his legs kick it away from him because he has braces on.
Mr. Goodman is played by Jay Johnston.
Yeah. The voice cast is actually like kind of known to a certain extent.
Yeah, he was on. He's been on Mr. Show, Sarah Silverman Show. He's done a lot of other like Adult Swim things, and a lot just mostly like comedy. Then there's Frank Collison as Grandpa, and then most surprisingly, Brooke Shields is in this as Mrs. Goodman.
Yeah, Brooke Shields played Mrs. Goodman, and Mrs. Goodman is really one of the funnier characters of the Goodman family. She has exceptionally large breasts and exceptionally large butt.
Yes.
And every time they show an episode where it's her in pictures at like events and stuff like that, the guys are always just staring at her and
losing it over her.
And
Mr. Body.
And Mr. Goodman is just constantly is so oblivious, and he's always demanding food.
Yeah, he's always demanding food. He's a complete moron too. Most people on the show are complete morons.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just his main focus is not getting fired at his telemarketer job, and then getting fed. That's his thing, and he's always gets put in stupid situations. Like what the hell? One of the funniest is the Cheeseman episode.
I think
that's
great.
His best episode, where he's trying to be like the wife. Mrs. Goodman knows all these like camping tricks and like how to survive camping, and he acts like he does, and is just getting himself hurt, nearly killed.
Yeah, he eats something that thinks it's fruit, but it's a spider's nest.
Yeah.
I actually found a clip of Mr. Pickles. This is what he sounds like when he commands animals. when you watch that in the context of the show, hopefully you guys picked it up. But in the context of the show, like when he's just like, it's just this dog like just like strolling around and he's by animals and he just like talks like that. You're just like when I first saw it, I was dying of laughter. Like I thought this show was funny from the very beginning. Like some people had to grow on. But like I know you were the same way. Like right from the beginning.
Oh, right from the beginning, I was.
Actually, when I first showed it to you, didn't you go home and watch every episode?
Yeah, I binged it. I mean, it was worth it. I mean, they're like 11 minutes long, but yeah, I did. I was hooked instantly. I had to go watch it all. Oh yeah, but when you see that, it's like ridiculous. And sometimes he uses it to scare animals, but sometimes he uses it to get them to do terrible things.
Yes, and there's a few episodes where he doesn't do it, like the Cheese Man episode, which is probably one of the top 3. He doesn't do it, but
No.
he's not the focus of that episode. It's Tommy and Mr. Goodman and Mrs. Goodman that are really the focus.
Right.
So he's just in the background causing the trouble, which is what I like, even because like the show is actually pretty good at like distinguishing like who's who, like and like almost they're kind of static, like they're not the same, they're not always the same. They change from time to time. Mm-hmm. Like Grandpa from the ending of season 2 is different from the Grandpa that ending in season 1. Like he's actually kind of used to Mr. Pickles.
Yeah.
He like in the season 1 he was always so distraught over Mr. Pickles. Mm-hmm. In season 2 he's actually like kind of used to it. You know, like he crawls out of the doghouse. He's like, "Oh, hey, Tommy." Like,
yeah. At one point, he just like accepts it.
Yeah,
more or less. Not exactly. Some other additional voices notable ones. I'll just say real quick. Joey Lauren Adams, who you'll remember from Kevin Smith movies like Mallrats and what's the one with
Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy. Yep. And Tracy Morgan, Iggy Pop, Rob Zombie, Steve-O, and Weird Al have also provided voices on this, and some of their characters have been great. But let's start getting into some of the things like Mrs. Goodman and the Goodman family is ridiculous. It mostly centers on them, but oh my god, there's so many good episodes and so many good characters. And like Mr. Pickles is not completely evil. Yes, a lot of the things he does is evil, but he will fight for his family, especially Tommy. He saves Tommy's life countless times. He sticks up for Tommy all the time.
Yeah, he's there for Tommy. And I think that's Grandpa has a little bit of respect for Mr. Pickles in that sense.
Yeah.
Like in the episode where they go to the baseball game, which is also a great character gets introduced, the guy that we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But they actually like work together a little bit.
Yeah, to protect Tommy, save him from that collector guy. But yeah, in almost every episode, Mr. Pickles is trying to save Tommy, and if you mess with Tommy, expect to be dead.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Pickles will not stand for that.
Like the pedophile episode.
Oh, the pedophile episode is probably the best one, I think.
Yeah,
and also the most messed up, probably.
Yeah, it's up there. It can be the most messed up one, probably.
And we'll start getting into some episodes, but before that, the one thing we didn't mention yet is the theme song to the show.
Oh, it's great.
It's so good. It sounds just like Metalocalypse and Deathlock, if you've ever seen that show. But it's just this like heavy metal theme song that's
it sounds
so
like
good.
Death Clock. Like it sounds like Nathan Explosion from like the first Death album. Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's like it's really short too. It's like under a minute.
Yeah. Well, it has to be. I mean, to fit the time frame of the show, but all right, let's start getting into some of the episodes. Connor, what are some of your favorite episodes?
All right, so I want to go into my favorite episode, and it used to be the Cheese Man episode, but that has been dethroned to my second favorite. My new favorite episode is the talent show one.
Oh, the talent show.
Yeah, the talent show one is by far one of the funniest things ever, and it all comes down to just the lady with the face on her butt.
And this one is recent. It's from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's from it premiered June 19th. And oh wow, yeah, Mr. Pickles actually does pretty good ratings wise. It gets over 1 million people.
Yeah.
A lot of episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, she has a face on her butt and constantly like her mouth looks like a butthole.
Her mouth is a butthole.
Her mouth is a butthole. So like whenever she'll constantly put like lipstick or something on it, and like the way when she puckers her lips, it just looks like a
And
butthole.
when she eats chocolate, it just looks
Yeah.
Every single ass and butthole related joke you can imagine comes out of that. And
Yeah.
it's hysterical.
It is amazing. Like I don't even want to give too much away because you literally have to watch it, and I died. Like it might have been the most I've ever laughed since the Cheeseman episode. The Cheeseman episode is my second favorite episode. It is amazing. I would have to say my third favorite is who's the guy they call who always slicks his hair back?
Sid the Kid, I think.
Yeah, the kid or whatever. They used to call me the kid.
Yeah,
and like it was like
Dead Man's Curve episode.
The Dead Man's
soapbox derby one.
Yeah, that's the one where Tracy Morgan's in.
Yeah.
And that one was great because he the premise of the episode is the guy, the kid, like is been stuck in a car for like 80 years because he fell off a cliff because of reasons like with a girl and everything. I don't want to get too much into it, but the way he survived for so long was he was drinking rat pee and eating them. Yeah. And when he would slick his hair back with the guts of the rats. It's just great. I mean, Pat, what's some of your favorite episodes?
All right, I really do love the talent show one, but I'm definitely gonna have to go with, aside from the talent show, definitely Cheeseman episode. The Loose Tooth episode with the pedophiles is great.
Oh, that one is amazing.
All right, the Cheeseman episode we touched on it a little bit, but you know how in any camping episode or movie of anywhere, they always tell like a haunted, scary story, something like that. This plays on that while also making fun of those typical like teens camping out thing, like kind of like how Cabin in the Woods did it.
Yeah, it's a great parody of like the Friday the 13th genre.
You know, this group of kids show up and they're all huge stereotypes of like the characters you'd expect on like Friday the 13th and stuff. And then they talk about the legend of the Cheeseman, which is one night they're at this camp. These people were camping out, and this guy got cheese put on his cheeseburger. They gave him a cheeseburger, and he hates cheese. So then they throw a bunch of cheese on him. He falls in to the fire, and his body's just melted cheese now.
Yeah.
And then he haunts everyone.
But like, it's funny because like it's the one guy is just like, let's throw American cheese at him.
Yeah.
Like just like it's probably one of the funniest lines that I don't think was meant to be funny.
Yeah, definitely not. And then throughout that episode, like a lot of the humor also comes from those group of kids and like their stereotypes and stuff. And like, there's like the black guy's complete stereotype of like the most ghetto and foolish like black person you could ever find in a movie. He's always like, yo, shit, that shit's whack, like that. And he's like constantly joking about how the black person is usually the first person to die. And then he kind of says like stereotypical ghetto things throughout it. And
also too, like he constantly puts himself in situations that he would get killed in.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, I'm gonna go put myself over there, like where it's quiet, and it's just like this dark alley.
Yeah, it's dark alley, and then he goes into the barn that's just all like a huge death trap with all these weapons in it.
And he like, it's like, this is a good place to take a nap.
Yeah. And then there's
the wheelchair kid.
The wheelchair kid,
who's actually it's like an homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because one of the main characters is a kid in a wheelchair, and he's very needy, but he's way over the top needy in this episode.
Yeah, and he doesn't even need the wheelchair; he just wants attention.
Yeah.
Then there's the slut who bangs literally pretty much every character aside from the Goodman family.
Everybody.
And then and then there's like the quirky girl with the glasses and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
the Velma.
Yeah, the Velma. She looks exactly like Velma. And then when the stoner kid goes into the bathroom while she's like showering, he's like peeking through and he's like, oh, I'm about to get some action. And then he turns her around and her back is just like
covered in hair
like a forest. And then she's like, oh no, you're not backing out now.
Well, the best part about that too is like, oh my God. All right. So like he goes in there and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just looking for a little piece of ass. Yeah. And puts his fingers between his mouth and just like sticks out his tongue. And then when he turns her around, that's when he sees the back hair. And he goes, whoa. And he's like, then that's when she says, you're not back out of this now. But she doesn't turn back around. She turns him around and
Yeah.
pulls his pants down to like spread his butt cheeks. So like that's when Mr. Pickles comes in and kills him.
Yeah.
And that's when the nerd kid is staring.
Right. And then the other great character in that episode is the stereotypical weird local guy who like knows stuff but doesn't. And the entire episode is like, this guy is like completely deformed. Like imagine Sloth from the Goonies, completely deformed. He's like, I know a secret. And throughout the episode, when Grandpa's trying to get the sheriff to come out and show that Mr. Pickles is killing all these people, and the secret finally, I'm a virgin.
Yeah, the secret is
that was the secret. Grandpa thought he was going to help him out.
Yeah, nothing to do with the cheese man. It's just the fact that the guy was a virgin. Like that was the secret, and he loses it actually at the end of the episode.
Yeah, to the slut.
Yeah.
Another great episode that I really liked. We talked about it before with Floyd, but is Where's Mr. Pickles? And that it's these mercenaries are hired to capture and kill Mr. Pickles, and each mercenary is more and more ridiculous as it goes on. It's also the episode with Floyd's barbecue, but it's like, again, a stereotype of like a lot of the characters in this are just like stereotypes or parodies of everything.
That's every character. Every character is a parody or stereotype. Like the Goodman, the Goodman family is kind of like original to an extent, but even they're so much of a parody of like the 50s, like Perfect Family, like American Dream, like So even they're not like out of it really. Like everybody is a stereotype or parody, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's well done. And it's just like it turns out so ridiculous. But like we mentioned, the one hit woman who was born without genitals and a butthole and goes
number 1 and number 2 out of Boob 1 and Boob 2.
Yeah, out of Boob 1 and Boob 2. Then there's the huge like cowboy looking guy who has like the girliest voice. And then the way that Sheriff teaches Tommy how to interrogate people and get information from him is, how's your mommy? Your daddy? Girlfriend Sheila? They good? And just makes him break.
Yeah, he's probably the worst. The sheriff is probably the worst cop on TV. Like I thought Officer Barbrady might have been like the worst police officer.
Oh no, Sheriff is way worse.
Sheriff is way worse.
Especially in the pedophile episode, which I think we should talk about.
Catch me some pedophiles.
Yeah, that episode. It's like a group of pedophiles trying to molest every kid they could find, and it's funny because how ridiculous the situations turn out and are set up. Like the one is trying to do stuff to this kid while his parents are right outside his RV.
Yeah.
And the group of pedophiles are very, very hardcore into protecting the environment.
Yeah, that's the best part.
That's the second part of their identity is like, yeah, they're pedophiles.
Like, littering.
But they hate the environment and they see that like littering and ruining the environment as the worst thing. Not them molesting kids or anything. And then, God, just so many funny jokes coming out of that. And then when the sheriff tries to finally catch them, he shaves off his mustache to look like and kneels down and looks like a little boy. And then just the way Mr. Pickles treats those guys, he like puts them in a juicer.
Yeah.
So
he like dances with their limbs.
But at the end of that, that's one of the instances of Grandpa and Mr. Pickles working together because Grandpa thinks he has proof that Mr. Pickles killed all these people, but then Mr. Pickles like brings the Tooth Fairy to Tommy because Tommy really wanted to meet the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah,
show is real, and Grandpa had a decision to either ruin Tommy's hopes that the Tooth Fairy was real, or get Mr. Pickles in trouble.
Yeah, and Mr. Pickles knew Grandpa wouldn't like hurt Tommy in any way.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many good episodes from the first season. My favorite from the
Phil likes that show too, actually.
Oh, Phil would like that.
But I don't think Matt likes it.
I don't know. I don't know if Matt can handle it. I forget what his reaction to it was.
Yeah.
Another great episode from season 2 is Cops and Robbers.
Oh, that was the best episode of season 2 until the 9th episode, the talent show.
Yeah, and it's this evil midget who actually his emotions, he kind of seems like a little squirrel, and they make a couple of jokes about that, but like he goes on this crime spree And anytime somebody says midget, he flips out and goes, prefer to be called little people. And a lot of the humor comes from that.
Yeah. And it's just how much he freaks out. And he does this little noise that, like, sounds like a chipmunk. And he has a girlfriend that has gigantism.
Mm-hmm. Wait, and then but the best, one of my favorite parts of that episode is when those douchey kids are always humping each other. Are like, all right, let's play cops and robbers. I'll be the cop and you be the poor defenseless black guy.
Yeah.
And
that gets tackled for no reason.
Gets tackled for no reason and like just destroys the kid.
But like the kids that are playing cops and robbers, he's like, all right, I'll be the cop, you be the robber. And he's like, bend over. And they're like, all right, spread them. And like they just start pretending to hump each other. But like later on in that episode, there's the black guy that gets tackled for no reason,
yeah.
and the security guard starts humping the black guy.
As awful as all this sounds, it's so funny. It's done in a way that it's funny.
Yeah, they don't ever lose sense of the humor. Like it's never just like, all right, let's just be shocking to be shocking, and like that's it. And like there's always a sense of comedy. And I think it's really funny because comedy is always a form of misery. Like, and like most comedians say that, where like in order for comedy to work, someone has to be suffering to a certain extent, either if it's minimally or whatever. Like even like a corny joke is at the expense of something, you know. There's always an expense, and like this show, literally, it's the most extreme expense ever for every butt of the joke. And that's where it works, is because it literally says literally no one cares. Like the writers, the creators are just like they will make fun of anybody and everything, and which is awesome. It's very South Park-ish, like how far they're willing to go.
Yeah, not as smart though, but yes, in terms of like just ruining people.
Well, I mean, South Park, I think, is a much more intelligent show, but that's just because there's like 18 seasons behind it. And a lot of the commentary in South Park is not a lot of it, but there's some episodes where they're wrong about stuff. Yeah. You know, like the global warming episode.
Sure.
Yeah, like the global warming episode is like sometimes like at the time when it was controversial, but now it's just kind of cringeworthy to watch.
Yeah.
You know. So and I'm glad they don't get political with the show, like, because it's just not that
thankfully.
type of, yeah.
I don't think it would fit into the mold of the show.
And I'm not talking smack about South Park. South Park's one of my top 2 favorite shows ever. So, but like, there's also a lot more seasons, so like, there's more to judge on it.
Yeah, and then another great episode, I think, another recent one is the vegans episode.
Oh, that was amazing.
This tore the shit out of vegans.
Yeah.
But not, like the douchey vegans who are the holier than thou type. It plays on it by turning like veganism into a cult. Yeah. And then another
part of vegan.
Yeah, part of the humor comes from that, and you have to be initiated. It's like imagine if like veganism was Scientology. Yeah. It blends that into this episode, and then a lot of the humor comes from...
It is a I think it is more of a metaphor for Scientology.
Yeah. While still... Yeah, but still like, taking the expense out of vegans. But it's really funny. A lot of jokes come from Mrs. Goodman just not understanding what a vegan is and constantly trying to give them meat, and orders like an extra meat lover's pizza and stuff. And yeah, I think it's really funny. Just the way that they tore like vegans apart. Not that there's anything wrong with veganisms, but like, the holier than thou ones that everybody hates.
They're not making fun of vegans in general, but they're making fun of Scientology, and they're making fun of the "I'm better than you" vegan. Yeah, like, oh well, I'm vegan.
Yeah. Yeah, they make that into like the joke of the episode.
Essentially, like, oh hey, I'm Joe Really. Yeah.
No, he vapes, dude. Come on.
Joe Really vapes.
Vape F. One episode that I really didn't like that I know you liked.
Yeah, this is I was actually just about to bring this up.
Yeah, was it's titled ADD, and it's one of this running background characters throughout the show. It's actually like a show within the show. Yeah, it's called Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective.
It was introduced in the Cheeseman episode.
Yeah, basically like every now and then it'll cut to this, and it's this TV show about an astronaut, Dolphin detective, takes place in space, and he's constantly being arrested for like rape and murder and stuff, but he's the best damn detective in the universe. Yep. And they need him. And this episode was completely just basically Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective episode.
It had no Mr. Pickles. Like Mr. Pickles was in it, but it was in the very beginning in the intro, and they cut away to Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was really funny.
I really disliked this episode. I didn't laugh. I probably laughed once, and that was at the one alien who constantly, like, every 2 seconds turned into a new racial stereotype.
Yeah.
I think that was the only thing I liked in that episode.
I thought the detective that was trying to keep Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective in check was really funny. Like, he was always trying to be like by the books.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna report you. But the Dolphin like didn't speak. Like, and whenever he did speak, he would take away the thing for the communicator from him.
Yeah.
And like the whole time, it's just you think. Like, he thinks Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective is doing police work, but he's really just trying to find drugs.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that like the case is just solving by itself. It's just how Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective works.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny. It's not the best episode, and like I wouldn't want to see it again. It was cool once, you know, like randomly they just do Astronaut, Dolphin, Detective, but like I don't need it ever again.
I found it. Like, the joke just ran its course in the first minute. I think it was just like a constant rehash out the thing. It got old so quick for me, and I was disappointed they did a full episode on it, but I hope they don't do another one like that. Like, I don't mind episodes in the show, like the main focus being a different side character, like the one episode where it's about this woman who wants to sleep with Sheriff, and Mr. Bojangles is like takes over the show, basically, like the episode, and it's like focused on those two instead of Mr. Pickles or the Goodman family. I don't mind that. I just think this one was really poorly done.
I thought it was pretty well done. Like, it's not. I don't want another full cutaway from the characters in Old Town, and it was a nice twist. I still like the episode. I know we're indifferent about it. But again, like, there's not really a bet, except for this, in your opinion, this episode. But besides that, like, there's really not a bad episode of Mr. Pickles.
No, and some episodes are, not as good or not so great, but there's something great in them that makes up for, like, the okayness of the rest of it. Like, in the first episode of the new season, Mental Asylum, the episode itself is okay.
Yeah.
Like, the Mr. Pickles focus stuff is okay, but, like, Grandpa in the asylum and
was
that
hysterical.
Evil doctor was great.
Oh, that evil doctor was amazing.
And that, that made up for the so Mr. Pickles focused parts of the episode. But most episodes are very good. Some are more outlandish and outrageous than others. Some are more tame, but usually I find myself cracking up all the time.
Yeah. The superhero episode was pretty funny. Where like if you shove, like, there's this candy that if you shove up your butt, you like it makes your face turn inward, and then you get like really high.
Yeah, shove and pucker.
And like the guy constantly like it's like, I can't watch this, and carves his eyes out, and like you could have just closed your eyes.
Yeah, that one was good too. This show is certainly not for everyone.
No, it's not.
It's a very specific type of humor. I feel like most of the people I know outside of a certain part of our friend group would not enjoy the show at all.
No, it's not like a show. It's like, hey, you want to like binge a TV show together, honey? Like, sure.
Oh yeah, Becca would definitely not.
No, yeah, your girlfriend would hate it. I don't know if I could ever show a girl Mr. Pickles.
Yeah, I don't think that it'll help you out.
No.
In any case, unless the girl somehow has the same exact sense of humor. But yeah, the show is definitely not for everyone. This is like as much of this is the most Adult Swim show
ever
they have.
Yeah,
like it's even more so than Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
And Aqua Teen Hunger Force was like the example of like, this is Adult Swim humor.
Yeah,
like this is what they go for. Like this is the type of crowd that they have. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force wasn't for everyone either. But over time, it got really popular.
Yeah,
for an Adult Swim show. I think that's kind of gone to Mr. Pickles now. Because Rick and Morty, as much as I love that show, that show could be on another network.
Yeah, it's not like a typical Adult Swim show. It's really outside its formula.
It is. It's a half hour long.
Well, that, and it's like most Adult Swim shows are like their goal is to be ridiculous and like kind of like alternative humor or like anti-humor, like Tim and Eric based things, or like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, or even like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, the fake Space Ghost talk show, which was great, by the way.
That show was great.
Yeah, Rick and Morty really could function on any other network or any other channel, but like Mr. Pickles and Aqua Teen Hunger Force and shows like that, definitely not. Even the Venture Bros and Super Jail, they wouldn't work anywhere outside of Adult Swim.
So yeah, Super Jail is another. Oh man, R.I.P. That show was awesome. Did you ever watch Super Jail?
Yeah, it was good.
I liked it.
But yeah,
like I think it was like a lot better than people give it credit for. Actually,
yes, I agree. But like this is the most, and Adult Swim does have some outrageous shows. Like Aqua Teen Hunger Force itself is outrageous, but it's not like Mr. Pickles. Mr. Pickles includes a lot more shock and gross out humor, while Aqua Teen Hunger Force and like Super Jail are absurdist.
Yes.
But yeah, this is the current like most Adult Swim show of like it's this decade that there is. You know, and it's because it has absurdity, shock, and gross out, but it blends them well.
And it's also well written comedy.
Yes. Yeah, like the creators and writers of the show have worked on actually mostly Adult Swim shows. Like a few of them were constantly writing and working on Aqua Teen Hunger Force for years. And then Metalocalypse too, and a couple other, like they worked for Adult Swim's like production studio.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of where the humor comes from. But I recommend watching one episode at least. See if you can get into it.
I think the perfect episode to get introduced to how the show is actually the pilot episode, the one where the beer roids.
Yeah. If you can find, I mean, it's up on YouTube, but the animation on it is not that great because they did it before it's picked up.
Yeah, it isn't that good. And then the second episode you should get into, if you don't find that one, is the Cheeseman episode.
Yeah, the Cheeseman episode is like, if you like that episode, then you'll like pretty much everything else.
Yep, absolutely.
Or if you want a tamer one, go for Foul Ball, or Father's Day Pie, the one with Vito Pizzarelli.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He like bangs a deer in that one.
True. Okay, go for Foul Ball.
Yeah.
Which also one of our favorite characters, the guy who purposely amputates his legs below the knee, so he can put soda in one prosthetic and then alcohol in the other prosthetic, so he can mix them at anywhere he goes.
Yeah, and the best part too is like Mrs. Goodman's like, she's like, "What happened to you?" Like she thought it was an accident. And he goes, "I just cut off my leg so I can put whiskey and soda."
Yeah,
and he just starts like making drinks.
That was a good, actually a good impersonation of him.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think it's one of my new favorite shows. Definitely recommend it if you like other Adult Swim shows, or if you have like a twisted sense of humor,
which we do.
Which we definitely do, and several of our friends do. But it's really not for everybody.
Nope.
And for the few people that listen to us, it's probably already our friends that have watched the show and like it. But give it a shot if you're not one of those people.
Absolutely.
It's on demand. I think it's on Adult Swim's website too, and you know it's the internet. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah, find anything on the internet.
But yes, it was just ended this past weekend, the season finale,
and it's not hard to catch up on. Like, and you don't need to watch it in order.
No, it's completely like episodic. Like you don't. There's really no continuation throughout. Like you could pick it up anywhere.
The only episodes you should wait to watch is like the season finales of both seasons.
Yeah, those are the only two that you shouldn't go into first.
Yes.
Like actually save those. But otherwise you can pick it up from anywhere and you won't really miss out on anything. Because there's no introduction of the characters in it. Like you don't get really any background on it. So you don't need to see the pilot in order to see episodes 2 or any other episode like that.
No, yeah.
Which is good. It's easy to pick up. They're short. They're like, without commercials, they're about 11 minutes.
Yeah, it's one like half SpongeBob episode.
Yeah, so it's a quarter hour.
Yeah, exactly. And it's perfect that way. If it was any longer, it wouldn't be right.
No, it definitely wouldn't work if it was like a half-hour episode. But renewed for a third season, probably next year after, unfortunately. But
yeah, Adult Swim is really annoying with that.
Well, sometimes it's also the creators.
True.
Like Rick and Morty, the reason it takes so long is because, because they have to connect, a lot of the stuff from previous episodes. They actually do research some things they talk about, and the animation actually takes a while for them to do because of their style of the animation. But that, and they have to, they improvise a lot of it on the spot, so that works. But otherwise, like other shows like Children's Hospital, Tim and Eric, well, every Tim and Eric show, their seasons usually came back soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mr. Pickles, I think this season was 2 years after the first or something like that. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to wait that long. But yeah, if you have seen the show, let us know what you think. If you try the show because of this episode of our podcast, definitely let us know.
Yeah,
because we want to see what your reaction would be.
I want it like this. I like this show a lot. I want it to garner more attention. I checked the views. Like a lot of episodes, not every episode hit over 1 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it averages. The average is like 1 million or 900,000, something like that. There's a couple that are over, a couple that are under. But I mean, and that's good for Adult Swim. Like Adult Swim is really like it's on Cartoon Network, so it's not its own channel, and it starts like the Adult Swim block starts at what 11? 11 every night, something like that.
Yeah, well, because it technically starts earlier, but it's all the reruns of King of the Hill, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, Cleveland Show, and American Dad.
Yeah, like usually the original shows start at like 11 or something, or somewhere around there, 11 or 12 at night. So to get, you're not expecting a lot of viewers with that, but it gets, for its small block being part of another channel that's a kids channel, it gets good viewers. Mm-hmm. Like some shows, even on major networks, don't even get 1 million anymore. So it is pretty impressive, actually, especially for being the show that it is. That it gets that many viewers is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think it's garnering more attention, like underground attention.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly a cult show. I actually looked it up on Reddit the other day, so I wanted to see if it got renewed. And from 2 years ago, somebody posted the pilot, and the comments in it were very divided. Some were like, "Oh my God, this is great! I've never seen something so ridiculous." Some were like, very negative against it. But since the pilot, I mean, one negative of the pilot that they posted was the animation. Like, that was poorly done. And like the writing did get better after that. Since then, like things I've seen, more recent posts I've seen about that are much more positive.
Right. And I think they're finding their niche. And I think they found it actually like pretty much halfway through season 1. Mm-hmm. Because it's consistent. But yeah, that show is great. You definitely need to check it out.
Yeah. That about wraps it up for this episode.
Yeah.
Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, download, and rate us on iTunes. You could also download on Podbean. If you do get it from iTunes, rate us,
please.
It helps out. And likes on YouTube videos is also good. And put us on blast, share us with your friends. Leave us comments or any suggestions, like if you want us to talk about certain things or whatever. We'll be happy to. We'll reply to everything.
Yeah, we do. We're good like that.
Yeah. And you can follow the show on Twitter at Awesome Sun Show. Connor, do you want to give the thing because you haven't said it in a while?
All right. Yeah, it's because Twitter is so generous with their characters. Just want to put the day in there.
I figured I'd give it to you because you haven't said it in a while.
Thank you. I've been good.
Follow me on Twitter at RickPatMick.
I'm at Less Than Connor.
And follow Connor's other YouTube channel, The Couch Review.
Yeah. I think I know what I want the next review to be.
What?
For couch review. It's Lights Out.
Oh, the new horror movie?
Yeah, I think we should do that.
All right. Let's see if you do it this time.
No, I will. I'm starting to get down the new the editing software.
Okay.
It's so much better. Pinnacle is amazing. Remember with Videocraft? Remember how when we would record, like how much of a bitch it was for me to get like it going? And then, remember one time it stopped like middle of recording?
Yep.
And then we all changed positions in the seats. Oh God, that was awful. But no, yeah, couch review is still going. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you can follow that on Twitter at The Couch Review.
Yeah, and also, too, it's in the featured page. And if you follow The Couch Review, but not Awesome Sunday Show for some weird reason.
But you're listening to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go on our Awesome Sunday Show YouTube channel, on the right, it says Featured Channels. Couch Review's there. Subscribe, like, share, comment on that, too. Yeah, and that's about all I got right now.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, we can talk more about the show, but I don't want to give anything away.
No, just watch it and experience it for yourself. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great Sunday.
Yeah, enjoy.